आप इस एपिसोड को प्लीज़ मत देखिए बिकॉज आपके लिए इंपॉर्टेंट ही नहीं है। बिकॉज 75% आपकी ज़िंदगी में जहाँ जाता है उसमें क्या ज़रूरी है आपको जानने की क्या ज़रूरत है। रात के बजे हैं 2:45, थोड़ा टाइम चेंज कर रहा हूँ और हम शूट कर रहे हैं। नहीं, दिन के बजे हैं, पता नहीं। सो हम यहाँ क्यों कर रहे हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं, बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है। व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ WFM पॉडकास्ट लेस देन 7-8 months ago, the idea was to talk about this really boring industry, building, infrastructure, where we spend 75% of our daily life. Office, building, home, blah blah blah, and the rest of course in beautiful traffic. Wherever city you are, I am sure you understand what I am saying. आप इस एपिसोड को प्लीज़ मत देखिए बिकॉज आपके लिए इंपॉर्टेंट ही नहीं है। बिकॉज 75% आपकी ज़िंदगी में जहाँ जाता है उसमें क्या ज़रूरी है आपको जानने की क्या ज़रूरत है। बिकॉज व्हाट इज दिस टॉकिंग अबाउट बिल्डिंग्स, ग्लास, ग्लेजिंग, बट ब्रो यू आर सिटिंग इन दैट प्लेस, योर हाउस, योर ऑफिस 75% of your life. This initiative has been taken up by the entire glass and glazing fraternity of this country, and people who are here are from this background, where we are going to talk about what is important for a building envelope. So simple, we'll have people coming talking about building envelopes and so on, but what it takes to make a great house, a great home, a great office, a quiet, safe place where you can live, sleep peacefully. I wear this band, and the only thing I'm actually using it for is for checking my sleep score. And it actually works well, of course, when I sleep on time and don't drink too much at night. But it also works when there's silence. Now, how do you bring about that silence? How do you bring about peace, calm? We have kingdoms sitting over here. Kingdoms of the glass industry, kingdoms of the glass, hardware and accessories industries. I'm a king without a kingdom right now. Kingdom of the sealant industry, WFM. Kingdom of window and door industry, kingdom of architecture and restoration. So kingdom doesn't mean chota kingdom, it's like a big kingdom. The people who are talking here in this particular show are people who have with great experience. If you value your life, if you value the life of your children, your family, your friends, then you should watch this episode because I think maybe a couple of percentage of knowledge points you will gain. ChatGPT can tell you a lot, AI will tell you a lot. But this is real authentic conversation which is not picked up from different sources, it's picked up from experience. And experience is paradigm. In one of our shows, one of our speakers said, he was an older gentleman, he said, मेरा तजुर्बा यूज़ कर लो और अपनी यूथ की एनर्जी यूज़ कर लो, उन दोनों का जॉइंट वेंचर कर लो और फिर उसको यूज़ करो तो टाइम बचेगा और एक्सपीरियंस से you'll be able to save money. Net, this initiative is brought to you by CCPS, a confederation which was formed 20 years ago. By another confederation called upvc, Window and Door Manufacturers Association, which was also formed about 17 years ago, so long time. Federation of Safety Glass, another federation for the entire glass fraternity. And two lovely sponsors, Ozone, which is India's largest manufacturer of accessories and hardware, and Gold Plus, Apna Desh, Apna Shisha, by a very dear friend, all of us, dear friend of ours, Mr. Tyagi and his company. So, how this is episode Masterclass on Glass, it's like a masterclass. You got a masterclass in the US. This is like a similar masterclass on a building envelope. And the sequence to take forward, I leave it to Deepak Gahlowt to take the sequence forward in explaining to you how this is going to be navigated going further. Deepak, over to you.
My name is Deepak Gahlowt, architect हूँ. 30-35 साल हो गए करीब प्रैक्टिस करते हुए.
नजर आ रहा है.
And काफ़ी तरह के काम किए हैं. Been a designer, project manager, then have done a lot of design and build across the country. Last count, we've worked over 270 cities across India.
Wow.
And at any
How many
given
cities
point
are in India?
काफ़ी है. I think the
हजारों में है?
yes, 2000s.
Okay.
But what we talk about is the larger cities में.
Right.
But in that कोई भी स्टेज ऐसी छोटी नहीं है जहाँ नहीं काम किया, नॉर्थ ईस्ट से लेके
तो दीपक की छाप हर जगह है,
कश्मीर से लेके नीचे तक. और एक समय में मैक्सिमम सिटीज़ में हम लोग जो टर्न की काम कर रहे थे was about 35 cities. So I've actually worked, we've done work with our hands and we put together systems to be able to manage across. That was largely project management experience. And then obviously interest काफ़ी चीज़ों का है, and like I was saying, whatever is worth doing well. So we must get into details. God lies in details, that's the motto. And that's been a policy for whatever work we do. And
you have been a very good consultant and a very good teacher. I think teaching is one of your passions.
Teaching is one passion. Sadly, teaching के लिए पढ़ाई बहुत करनी पड़ती थी, इसलिए टीचर नहीं बना. लेकिन एक्सपीरियंस को सिखाने में, एक्सपीरियंस को बांटने में is something which has been of passion for me.
I remember you used to do master classes on glass physically with,
yes.
While we were promoting in the early days, 20 plus years ago.
I must give you an experience from here. My grandfather was a civil engineer. So as children, we used to be on sites often with him. One of the things that I realized, and why I started a magazine for a while and ran it for a few years, is because उनका जो experience था इस industry में was not being passed on. बट उनके साथ तो अगर 100, 150, 200 इंजीनियर्स ने जो बाद में MDs हो गए, सीनियर प्रोफेशनल्स हो गए, उसके अलावा किसी के पास नहीं जा रहा था.
That is unfortunately the story of our history. That our forefathers, whatever they learnt, they tried to restrict it to their children.
Yes.
Right.
Or at the most their shishya. You had to take somebody as a guru.
Correct.
And then that you will get the teachings, provided the guru agrees. But it was never texted or never put into practice for wider use and for use
both
by
history maybe or experiences me.
But that is where today's technology helps us to use social media to be able to broaden the width of the knowledge that we have and can share it with
example मैं देता हूँ. I mean, for example, ozone. I mean, the way the brand is being built is a history. I mean, we should know about it more.
Of course. That's why we are here.
That's why we are here. So coming back to this, I started a magazine for this particular reason. Ran it for a few years, ran it underground, पैसे खत्म हो गए तो sold it off, came back, got involved with CCPS. Early, क्योंकि we got to know the advertisers well. उसमें श्रीकांत सोमानी जी थे, I must name him. And so there was a person from Somani in our office when we were working as architects, and he was showing us this nice brochure. Brochure में बहुत बढ़िया toilet, सुंदर सा toilet बना हुआ है. And I was in a mood that day. You are lying to me. You are trying to fool us, and you are, this is not what it is. You can't give me this. He said, नहीं सर, मेरी टाइल बहुत बढ़िया है. मैंने कहा टाइल बढ़िया है तो क्या मुझे तो ये टॉयलेट चाहिए, मुझे टाइल थोड़ी चाहिए. If you can give me the toilet, then come to me in this office. Otherwise, please don't come.
Standalone product मत दो.
Don't ever come in this office if you can. The word must have got around. श्रीकांत सोमानी जी का फोन आया मेरे पास कि let's meet on this. This is a problem that we face, and that's the beginning of the CCPS story at that point of time. And then gradually people got together and we did manage to do something well.
No, we had all the top companies of this country as members, partners. I was also one of the first members.
On the teaching front, he had been holding classes of very senior
glass
architecture
industry, in fact,
and of glass industry, of building of the codes and making standards.
I also attended the class. I fell out to sleep because I didn't
From there to Kaanch Ki Pathshala, which was meant for installers and carpenters to learn about, graduate from carpentry to glassworks and
So Deepak, how are we navigating this going forward?
So despite all the work that has been done, there are new people coming in the industry, technologies are changing, buildings are now changing dramatically. जो आज के 20 साल पहले या 30 साल पहले की जो बिल्डिंग थी या पिछले 5 साल पहले की जो बिल्डिंग थी is changing significantly now. So which is why one, we need to keep up with what is happening.
Absolutely.
And second is that abhi bhi in our architecture colleges, engineering colleges, this subject is not taught. Glass is a material as if it does not exist. मैं स्टील के बारे में पढ़ता हूँ, कंक्रीट के बारे में पढ़ता हूँ, वुड के बारे में पढ़ूंगा, सब कुछ पढ़ूंगा, बट ग्लास के बारे में आज भी मैं नहीं पढ़ता.
Glass, glazing, interiors,
and
finishes.
Yet, if you go out anywhere in the city, your glass will be one of the most prominent material.
Correct. Absolutely.
Visually, it will also be one of the most prominent material to affect your health, your costs, your how you feel. Everything gets influenced by this.
I'll add a fun fact here that going forward in the next 10 years, I was recently in China and Every time I get amazed when I go there in terms of how things change so quickly there. Just a simple mathematics that our infrastructure, building industry as per the dream of our government and so on and so forth is worth trillions of dollars. So just people who are very poor in mathematics, $1 billion is equal to 8,700 crores as per today's USD rate. $100 billion is 870,000 crores. $1 trillion, ab kar lo apne aap. Fundamentally, that's the size of this industry, and the glass and the glazing element all put together, including accessories, hardware, constitutes almost 8 to 10% of it. And that 8 to 10% of it makes a difference to the 75% of your daily life. Don't watch this. It's okay. Not important. Deepak?
Yes. So coming back to the why and what we are trying to do here, glass remains important, and there's a lot of work for people that.
But glass is not standalone.
Glass is not standalone. Yeah. Glass alone is the most prominent material.
Correct.
उसको फिक्स करने के लिए हार्डवेयर हो गया, उसके लिए प्रोसेसर्स हो गए जो सारे सबको इकट्ठा करते हैं. There are issues with, I mean, it's a technical matter.
So what?
It is not just a pure aesthetic
matter. If you would tell everybody what are we actually going to be doing? So we call it season 1, 4 episodes, and each episode we talk about a certain aspect of the installation, application of what we're talking about.
So we'll be talking about what a facade is. क्या क्या करता है हमारे लिए. We'll be talking about safety, we'll be talking about energy and noise, and what was the fourth one? Wellness, yes, health and wellness.
Yoga. We'll sit in a yoga pose and we'll talk during that time. Let me take this forward before we start to have everybody to introduce themselves with first. He's called the Bhisham Pitama of the glass industry. That hasn't changed. So,
my name is Sharanjit Singh. I'm the chairman of GSC Glass, and here I represent Federation of Safety Glass, which is an association of more than 300 processors pan India. And but I was the first one. I did my engineering from Punjab Engineering College, Chandigarh. I built the first glass tempering plant of India, from drawing board to welding to design to execution, everything. And when I used to go with my product to the market, so people would say, "Kaka phere aayi tu." So I used to just leave my card, just keep my card. Maybe someday there is a requirement, and people didn't believe. And well, it started like that. First glass tempering, then first architectural glass tempering, then first indigenous laminating line, then first ceramic flit printing in India, first to make hardware for glass in India, and many firsts like that.
So Modi ji ka Make in India ये बहुत सालों से कर रहे हैं fundamentally.
Thank you so much. So we will talk about, because I'll focus more on glass, being a glassman, but glass cannot, as Amit said, glass cannot hang in the air.
Absolutely.
So you have to have either you will need Shobhita to put it in frames and install there, or glazing, that is structural glazing or curtain wall, etc. And or you need Alok to put it together with the hardware, as you see on shop fronts
and hold it together.
Just a little bit of a fun fact, although this matters to us more than anybody else. The four of us, and Shobhita came in a few years back, seven now?
Yep.
We've known each other for almost 25 plus years. And this gentleman, Alok, who's sitting with me, is a buddy since forever. And our friendship started on a McDonald's burger, which he bought 8 rupees, and me bought the Coke, Pepsi, whatever. That's our joke forever. Yeah, Alok, over to you, buddy.
That's a good way to start. But thank you for having me, and it's really a pleasure and honor to be sitting amongst Sharanjit ji, Deepak, and of course yourself. Shobhita, I just knew today, but of course you represent a large organization. So very glad to be a part of this conversation. So I'm Alok Agarwal. I am the managing director of Ozone. Ozone is a 25-year-old company. We are dealing into all kinds of hardware for doors, windows, glass, of course, specifically. We do have a range for kitchen, wardrobe hardwares. Now glass is also getting into frames.
You see their ads on television with some celebrities.
Yeah.
He's been
Right.
shy and modest about that.
So yeah, it's been a journey, and since 25 years, when toughened glass, processed glass, there was limited availability. So we grew as the glass industry grew, and we were able to bring high quality products to India, and proudly an Indian brand, and with a lot of manufacturing, and competing with the who's who of the industry internationally, again in various segments, from kitchen to wardrobe to door hardware, fingerprint locks. We also build safes. But again, happy to be a part of the conversation.
You want to tell me your small story of when you put the first product out to an architect? What did he say? Don't say the name. Just
Yeah, so they said that this is an Indian company. We don't believe in the quality. I said this is a European certificate. This is a UL certificate. But then an earliest competitor also said this is cheap Indian brand, and this doesn't deserve to be in a place where it is. But then that rest is history. I don't want to talk
Yeah,
too
fair
much
point.
about it. I think we focus on our journey, what we have built together, and as we rightly said, proudly very, very Indian. And we do import a lot of products, but we're also into manufacturing, UPVC and aluminium windows. Processed glass is the latest offering to the market
Best of
from
luck.
Ozone. Thank you.
Someday we'll do a story on this also.
Yeah.
The brand is not just, it's not just a hypothetical nice field brand. It's also about reputation. So you build
brand
a
is also
reputation.
legacy
Brand is legacy.
and trust.
Yeah, trust. So that is what in an Indian context, I remember when you started off the first few times, I mean, there was a lot of disbelief in the industry.
Even we had a similar experience when I went to some senior architects. They said, ग्लास तो बेल्जियम का होता है.
Right.
मैंने कहा मैं बेल्जियम को ही बेच के दिखाऊंगा. So we have so many projects that we did in Belgium.
Yeah.
We owned a company in Belgium, which a number of local people,
Absolutely.
engineers, and a back office in India where we would design where glass was combined with engineering. And some of them, like Brussels Airport and Luxembourg Airport, Luxembourg Rail Station, Ghent Rail Station. So there are a lot of big projects where wherever glass and engineering was to be put, we were always the best over there, because the local companies did not have that wide knowledge and coverage of the whole.
No, absolutely.
Although glass came from Belgium.
But
And
absolutely.
Alok, once you remembered, you do technical selling. You remember?
Yeah. He's very technical selling, and again to that impact, I was challenged by some people, some Europeans, and today we are very proud of the fact that we sell our brand in Germany, in most of the Europe, and of course in Middle East, and a lot of marquee projects has been done using the hardware, and again technical support from India by our engineers. So I think it's been a great journey, and it's a part
And
of
it continues.
And it continues, and I hope it
But I think the
goes to
vigor
different
of an
heights.
entrepreneur is essentially to be able to be at it all the time. दुनिया कुछ भी बोलते रहे, to hell with it, just keep doing your stuff and keep believing in yourself. It's a stronger conviction, and of course you make mistakes, you learn, you fail, but you got to keep moving.
Yeah, but again, doing the right things consistently, day after day, month after, and year and decades together. I think that is that consistency, that singularity of the message and quality. I think that has been the bane and the key, and I think that translates towards any.
Absolutely.
industry.
I want to add one more myth about brands, and people think that, and this is especially for students and who are coming up, and there's all these startup ideas and blah blah, which is all good, that they think that the brand makes extremely huge profits. You can take out balance sheets of any one of our companies, and we don't have 50-70% EBITDA margins. There are margins which are close to 20-30, which is good for a manufacturing company to have. And all that money largely spent on creating more trust in customers. So brands make a lot of money, they do all the advertising, they spend so many crores on this and that. Yes, we do. We spend money, but first we make money. That's how you can spend money, because you can't fund it from your pocket. So brands, when I talk about, I used to work with so many multinationals, then they used to talk so much about engineering, quality, and I used to think, Sale, bana rahe hain. Then later on when we started manufacturing, I said, nahi banane rahe bhai. R&D means agar 1 crore rupee ki machine kharid rahe ho just to do one check, that's important. And that is essentials, that maybe used to differentiate Indian companies to multinationals, but today I think we are nowhere behind in what you started so much.
We are at par or better than.
Yeah, and I think if I talk about the evolution of
Nowhere less.
Nowhere
than-
less.
I think the brains are sharper. It's only that tools and tackles have become available. There's more money coming in, so there's more spending.
And people are becoming receptive of.
Yeah,
people
because
are-
awareness is
yeah.
spreading. Not one person is talking. Now there are many people talking about different subjects. Maybe Shobhita can introduce herself and about the association, which is she's running like a lady, Rani Ki Jhansi for us.
Thank you so much. So hi, I'm Shobhita. I'm the Pan-India coordinator for UDMA, that is UPVC Window and Door Manufacturers Association. So it is the most difficult question for me to answer that when anybody asks me that Shobhita, what you do as a job profile. Then my first answer is ki I am the Harfan Maula. I do everything. You name it for the association, what you do, and I do it. Be it trainings, be it part of the audit programs, or being an editor, anything you name it, and I do for the industry. So in 2015, I passed from my MBA, and then I joined the industry. So it's been 15 years. I'm into UPVC window and door industry.
Episode 1, I clap. What are we going to talk about?
So let's start with the building facade, building envelope, and what it is and what it does for us. And one of the things when I talk to people or when I do start training program on this, I will refer to a skin.
Yeah.
This is like the skin that we have performs many functions. Okay, it not a lot of us architects we select it only on the basis of what it looks like. So you
Aesthetics.
Aesthetics. Now,
Not functionality.
Yeah, but that's not what the our human skin is. It does a lot of functions. It breathes. It protects us. If it gets if you get hurt, then it replaces itself in some ways. So similarly, a building also has a face to it, and to be able to select or to be able to specify the right face, there's a lot of information that goes into it. Let's start with, for example, the basic aesthetics of it. Okay, there is the color that you can choose. There is the shine or the reflectivity that we can choose. Then there are how you frame it and so on. You can choose.
Can
Then-
I interrupt here?
Yeah, please, sir.
You see, for thousands of years, glass was perceived as an object to look at. It was a
Like a
decoration
mirror.
element.
Like a mirror.
You look at glass. It really became useful when you had tried to perceive it as something that you can look through.
Correct.
That is the
changed
visibility,
Yeah.
which is very important. Two basic objectives is natural light, which for number of reasons it is. Other is the visibility.
Visibility of it. Yeah. So just taking forward from what you are saying, sir, why glass becomes even more important now is because our lifestyles have changed.
Yeah.
Okay, earlier we do a lot of historical work, we do a lot of restoration. पुराने सब घरों में खिड़कियाँ छोटी-छोटी होती थी.
क्यों?
They were basically because आप घर में सिर्फ सोने जाते थे या दोपहर में सोने जाओगे या रात को सोने जाओगे. Otherwise, 80-90% of your waking time would be outside.
Correct.
So you did not really need to connect. And physiologically, it has been proven that we have a basic urge to stay connected with the outdoors, and we have a requirement of our melatonin levels and our metabolism changes with the daylight level. Yeah. It's when the lifestyle change and more of a steady, we've spent time indoors now. आजकल even families, बच्चे, they are living indoors, so they are not going out as much. The requirement to stay connected and the daylight means you have bigger windows. Not only do you have glass in it, but you have bigger glass. एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ मैं, आप आज की डेट में कोई 50s के, 60s के, 70s के, 90s के घर जब भी कोई रेनोवेट करेगा अपना घर, बिना सोचे समझे वो हमेशा खिड़की बड़ी करेगा. इनवेरिएबली खिड़की बड़ी करेगा. एंड दिस इज़ नॉट बिकॉज उसको किसी ने आके बेचा या कुछ किया है. That's a basic urge. So like I said, something is worth doing well, we must, something is worth doing, we must do it well. And sadly, the understanding has not kept pace with it. So that's where we are, whether it's windows or if it is full curtain walls or
Glazing.
any other glaze, any full glazing, whatever. There is a lot for us to do here.
Alok, how would you define building envelope from your perspective in terms of you got into this business and now you are fully inside the concept of envelopes and how they are better protected with the correct use of architectural hardware?
Yeah, so I think very rightly, if you look at it, glass is being used, of course, as a transparent medium to inside look out. Another aspect is that now we not need the buildings to be more beautiful, so there are multiple type of glasses. There are sun rays coming into the building, so there is air conditioning, etc. So, but let me talk about the fact that you need to enter and exit the building. So, just a smaller aspect to cover
micro.
for immediately. So, we have to see what is the opening size of the door, how many people are going to be in the building, how many times, how many doors you need, because it has to be integrated with the facade, with the skin of the building. So the hardware which goes into the door, the size of the door. So in case of fire, you know, people should be able to exit very. So is there, how many doors are panic exit?
Anti-panic door.
Anti-panic. If there are automatic doors on the building, if you need revolving doors, depending upon the traffic, because it's an airport or a railway station or a hotel or just an office building. So I think what needs to we need to understand is that the hardware, the entrances also
All
play
of
a very huge role into getting integrated with the entire skin of the building. And now we also have openable windows which are automated. They're connected to the building management systems. So windows are, some of the windows are supposed to open to let out smoke once there is a fire alarm, and so I think there are a lot of technologies.
But
which
everything is available in India.
Everything is available, but also there is a cost, and sometimes there are different agencies or lack of knowledge. You know, people cut costs, or people are not willing to step up and go to the hassle of putting it all together. And I think that's one of the reasons why we are here together, and the awareness of it, the requirement of it will go up. And of course, as you rightly said, people need to know that this is available. So yes,
just
this is
to
available.
add to this, now the regulations also require a building facade to be openable.
Yeah.
The fire regulations now have already made it mandatory. Not many people know of it though.
Yeah.
That is the problem.
Not many people know, and not many people follow.
Yeah.
So also, you know, there's very, if you look at glass railings, they are a very integral part of a facade now, because a lot of the buildings, if they have a facade, they will have outside areas where people will balcony areas. If I look at shopping malls, there are, so unfortunately, a lot of times where we go and we talk to the architects or developers, the cost is the single most biggest concern. So I totally agree with that, that something has to fit a budget or a cost constraint, but that is not a trade-off against safety. And also that is also not a trade-off against a long-term thing. So let's say, I'll just give you a very simple example. You make a large building and then you put one door which is in the front and entry and exit. So the moment that door opens, the huge amount of air conditioning, it just goes out into the heat. So typically there should be a draught lobby. The glasses of the door, the heights of the door should be calculated according to various parameters. So I think architects, glass, what is the glass used, and of course the hardware, the sections of aluminium.
Everything.
So everything has to come together. So you know, I really appreciate the fact that you have different people here on the panel, because end of the day there are so many materials, so many specifications, and so many permutation combinations as to the usage of the building, the height of the building, the what are the aesthetics which are required, even the sun direction. You know, it is very, very important.
Very primary thing. Actually.
And primary thing.
I'm also saying that you don't have to know this all. That's why experts are there in every field to give you that knowledge. Please उनसी बात सुन लीजिए और हर चीज़ को measure पैसे से मत कीजिए. Functionality comes first. Aesthetics is important, but
no. So this also, it's also a question of priorities. Like you were saying, no, I have enough clients who will, जैसे ड्रिलिंग की बात करते हैं, अगर लेमिनेटेड ड्रिलिंग कंपलसरी है, होनी चाहिए, पीपल हैव फॉलोन अक्रॉस, बट टेम्पर करेंगे, पैसे बचाएंगे, बट फिर इटालियन मार्बल लगाने को तैयार, एक्सपेंसिव टाइल्स को
वो दिखता है ना, तो उसमें ज़्यादा
we find that, you know, we go to a lot of projects. जैसे बॉस इतना लगा दो, मैंने कहा सर इसका we've done the analysis and इसका ये फेल हो जाएगा, कोई गिर जाएगा, कोई मर जाएगा, बॉस अभी इतना बजट है, no problem. So because for people cannot perceive that this has to stay for 10, 15, 20 years, you may change the marbles, you
spot
may
decision making है ना?
change a lot of things, but you're not going to change certain fixed elements.
Correct,
you're not
correct.
possible to change.
डिसीजन मेकिंग से भी पहले ज़रूरी है ना कि आपको रिक्वायरमेंट बताओ, व्हाट आर दी रिक्वायरमेंट्स और नीड्स फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर लोकेशन और एप्लीकेशन. टुडे वी आर फोकसिंग ऑन envelopes, and an envelope is basically, what's an envelope is a outer area of the building which divides the interiors and the exteriors.
Exterior, yeah.
So we are not delving today into interior, someday we might. So the essentials of the envelope are, you know, that it should be basically save you or protect you from the external hazards, whether it is too much sun, too much heat, or too much
Noise.
dust, or too much noise, and you stay comfortably inside, having a feeling of you know, coziness, wellness, and comfort.
So the National Building Code now takes care of a lot of what we are talking about.
Yeah,
we-
yeah.
So ultimately we need to all follow that. So we don't necessarily need to make, reinvent the wheel here. If we just follow that, then a lot of these things will be taken care of. I'm not sure what the status is on the hardware side of it, but
work in
It is
progress.
there, but
it's-
again,
yeah.
again, see also what happens is that, as I just mentioned, it is a system. So hardware standalone will not give the
isolation में कुछ नहीं होगा.
So a particular hardware, a particular profile has to go with a particular profile, and then a certain type of glass has to be used in that profile.
Correct.
And it has to be of a certain height, which will of course change the cost. So there are multiple things which, so it becomes a system. So nobody appreciates that a glass railing, if it's as mundane, as simple as it may look, is a complete system. It has to be
Correct.
tested as a whole unit.
Correct.
And it has to be laminated properly, the glass has to be proper. Somebody needs to use the right fasteners. A lot of places we use chemical fasteners. So people just save on the little bit of chemical per running square foot में installation cost बच जाता है जी. Fastener कम लगा दिया, chemical कम लगा दिया. So that
National Building Codes have a specific chapter on glass, which is quite exhaustive, and it gives you in what particular, it goes about identifying critical locations to see that there are no injuries to human, or minimizes the chances of injury, grievous injury to human beings when you collide into the glass. And so there is a complete chapter on it in National
Yeah, but
Building
we'll
Codes.
also be
that's
talking about
exactly
it in
the
a while
point.
now.
That's
Yeah.
exactly the point. There is a rule for everything. In India, there are traffic red lights also. We know how many of us follow them. So again, that is the whole point. I'm not saying that there is no regulation, but also the engineers on site, people who are approving and signing off on those completion certificates, I'm not saying that they're wrong, but they also lack partially the knowledge, partially the testing abilities of all these things. So on paper, a glass railing may look to be very okay, but there are cases where people have actually fallen off. People have lost their lives.
There are a lot of
So
cases.
There are
Lot of
plenty of cases.
They don't get into news as
Yeah.
often as they
So
should,
they
but
get
there are
managed
cases.
well.
Yeah, they're managed. But okay, one point I'd like to add. I do work a lot with now builders, and I consult with them, advise with them, and I have not found one builder. If I tell them, take an example of laminated facade tempered railing, that the law says this, if you do something else and something happens, then you may get a bad name, or you may have some repercussions of it, and never have they said that you go against the law. My point is, starting point is that, do I as an architect, do I know? If I know, and am I willing to put that forward, that so that market is changing, and I'm
But that's also to do with
changing.
morality and ethical code of conduct as well, no? Ethics on both sides work, then you get a final good product.
I'm not sure about ethics, but certainly repercussions of people understand very
एक
well.
कोई गल है, मतलब
Yeah.
ethics leads to.
मतलब
Alok, you were adding something?
No, I said I'm not saying that people don't follow it, and
No,
I'm
people are
not painting
increasingly,
everybody
yeah.
with the same
Yeah.
brush. But again, I'm just raising a concern since we're talking about envelopes. So I'm just saying these are huge and important considerations from facade, the glass, the system. And again, it comes to who's going to install it. Are they certified? What is the silicon they will use? What is the, forget about silicon, what are the tools they will use to install these facades?
Correct.
So that, it's a complete story which has to come together, at the right place, right time, by the right people.
Everything has to be synced.
Every
Each person in the value
Absolutely,
chain
absolutely.
must have adequate knowledge
Correct.
to be able to do this job. So, Deepak, say closing on this first episode, what's most important? Human safety?
Human safety is critical. We have to start with human safety. And in the coming episode, let's start to get into more details of that and understand what the rule regulations are and what we can do to ensure that we are safe in a building.
So, human safety is our safety. It's not talking some broad, crappy subject.
Yeah, it's our children,
safety,
our-
our
you know,
safety, our families,
yeah,
everybody,
our customers.
society,
Yeah, everybody.
society at
Yeah,
large.
yeah.
One more point, Amit, if I may.
Please.
Sorry to.
No, no, no.
You see, you mentioned China, and of course we go to New York and we see those beautiful glass buildings, and they have been there for decades.
Decades. 30s,
30s,
1930s.
50s. And if we come back to our own city, some products, some buildings, they've been built beautifully, but over a period of time, they're losing their grace. Whereas the lot of the other buildings. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to respect the aesthetics, not only of our buildings or our property, one we are developing or for what we are working, but we need to respect that we hold a larger responsibility, that we're
Correct, correct.
creating a legacy or a legacy for the nation, for the city, for our area, even for the particular developer. So I think one of the larger messages which needs to go out to the at least the larger
The
developers,
audience.
which are making iconic, landmarks of
Buildings.
India as a whole, that they should perhaps put more mind, resources, and of course money behind these facades, functionality, and from my personal belief, as I have seen, they will reap the benefit,
In the
even
long
if it
run.
is sheer energy cost, even it is in the sheer rentals they might, or the yields they might
Absolutely, absolutely.
get in terms of the sheer money which their business demands, which is their again statutory duty for their stakeholders. So I think in that sense, the industry, be it from UPVC windows, aluminium windows, hardware, glass, I think there should be a more concerted and a combined effort.
So it's our responsibility.
So that's exactly. So
Yeah.
again, coming back to it, appreciate it. Really honored that you're putting all these things together and bringing it forward.